all, and welcome back to another thrilling episode of Out the Dome. I'm your humble interviewer, Jordan Brown, and with me for the very first time is our amazing artist. Say hi, amazing artist.
Hi, amazing artist.
Julia, thank you so much for joining me. It would have been astonishing artist, but I've already done astonishing art director, and I'm trying to limit the number of adjectives that I use. Like, I'm trying to make all the adjectives unique. I'm going to run into a problem at some point, but I think I've done it so far. Anyway, Julia, thank you so much for joining me. This is so exciting. Artist extraordinaire.
Thank you for having me, Jordan. Yes. This is very exciting for me. My first ever interview.
Oh, very fun. I think technically still a fan artist, although we both know technically not a fan artist. We just can't say for what or when you will no longer be just fan artist. I say just fan artist like it's not an incredible accomplishment that you have done, but
thank you.
Who's to say? Not me. I can't. I won't.
I don't know. I know nothing about anything.
So the folks out there who don't know you by name or face, because they've only seen your art,
face especially.
Yes,
no one I think knows my face.
Yeah, you are responsible for, I will say, absolutely my favorite VIP art, and that, I mean, I think you were also one of the first people I saw doing VIP fan art. It just, I mean, incredible fan art incredible art. I'm going to stop saying fan art because that sounds dismissive, and it's not. You're so talented.
It's not. I appreciate it. It's in no way dismissive. No way.
But incredible across the board. I know recently you posted that Sam Riegel was one of the first things that you had drawn, because we saw his announcement that I can't get into because I'll just cry again. Anyway, how did you get into doing this amazing art that you do?
Definitely started with Critical Role. I'm a big fan. I've been since, I think, 2017 or 2018. And Sam is an amazing performer. He's so great. I was such a big fan. And I was in a time of my life that I had just met D&D role-playing shows. I didn't know that was a thing. So I was so very impressed by his performance in the first campaign. And I did a little... I had one laptop and a dream. So I did what I could do. So I did a little sketch, very simple art for him. And I mean, Critical Role and Dimension 20 have so many incredible artists and that make great fan art every week. So I didn't expect him to see, but I wanted to do it anyway. But his mom saw it on Twitter, which was so cute. And then she tagged him, and then he was like, "Oh, cool." So that's where it all began.
That's really cool. Yeah. That's super, super cool. Yeah. It's always, God, I can't. Like, the artists move at a speed at which, especially Critical Role artists, a speed at which I cannot comprehend.
Yeah.
I remember it was, I think it's a campaign 2 episode, and they had met, I'm going to say her name's the Bright Queen. I don't think that's actually right. But she's in this giant throne room, and Matt goes into huge detail about it's the orb is there, et cetera, et cetera. And a day and a half later, the most stunning art I've ever seen of that full room is done. I'm like, but how are you moving that fast? How do you do things this fast? You move at a speed I don't understand either. So,
I mean, being honest, I've never done a piece like that with too many details for the internet. I've done for freelance works. Because it takes longer, but to post on social media, I do try to make it a little simpler, but it's usually because I'm excited about it, and I'm watching it and I'm like, oh my God, this is so cool. And then I envision it in my head. I'm like, oh, I could do this, but with I don't know, a twist or something. And then I try to get creative right as I'm watching. And then maybe on VIP, that's what happened at first. I watched the first the first episode with Anna Garcia, and I was like, oh my god, I love it.
Movie star Anna Garcia now.
Oh
What
yeah,
a
for sure.
icon. Yes.
Icon. Defending the moon.
Mhm.
And I watched it and I was like, oh, I love the show already. And while I was watching, I thought her costume was so fun and colorful. I started drawing it and I was having fun. And then I posted, and then I think she saw it. And then I was like, okay, they're gonna always have characters, so I guess I can like keep doing it because they're gonna be so fun. But then I started later on, as you know, doing it like beforehand. I would like get some reference photos and start doing it like prior to Friday, so I could post it on Friday like 1 hour after the episode was done.
Yeah, I will say, like, I got to be the tiniest part of that, where I got to send you Kate Elliott's pictures whenever I had them, which was very fun. As one of the weird things of my life is I get an email every couple of months of just like, here's the new show that's out. Here's the pictures that Kate Elliott took.
When you say it's weird, you mean it's awesome. It's crazy.
Yes,
Yeah.
those things. Yes.
Mhm.
Yeah. I mean, look, people want the technical details on this show. What are you drawing on when you're watching these things? What's your specs? What's going on that you've got? I won't understand any of that, but someone out there will appreciate it.
Like software,
Yeah.
stuff like that, brushes.
Yeah.
I mean, it's funny because I don't feel like a noob, but I feel like I am literally having fun. So I don't have many technical like things to be like. I see a lot of people like on TikTok who make like incredible art that also do a bunch of reviewing and like teaching of like how to do it like in a very professional way. And I would love to do that at some point, but I'm still learning too. So for now, I use Procreate um, mainly. I also use Photoshop sometimes for like backgrounds and stuff, but I mainly use Procreate, and I I use a bunch of brushes, and I have fun, and I don't have anything very crazy about it.
Yeah.
I can tell, like, I can explain how is the process
Yeah, that sounds
of doing
great.
it. Yeah.
As a not artist, like, I don't even know what to ask to be like, because this is like, normally when I talk to like production folks, I'm like, look, I understand production because I did a bunch of production stuff, but when we get into art, I'm like, so drawing, that seems hard and I can't do it.
Drawing, it's cool looking.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what I usually do, for example, right now I'm doing a Usha fan art.
Oh.
I'll try to post it tonight. What happened? There was a second during last night's episode that Reika was, I don't know, hacking like, and being like so focused, and then I was like, oh my god, I screenshot it and I was like, that's the drawing. And then I'm doing like, and then okay, and then I imagine it and I'll start sketching, and then I wanted to make Usha doing it, like the old lady doing it, and the hacker like beside her, like watching and being like, "Ooh, cool." So I envision it and then I sketch it, and that's the part that takes the longest. Is it's hard work because I look up references and like I try to think about poses, and I erase and draw, and then after the sketch I do a cleanup sketch, and then I do the line art, and then I do flat colors, and then I do shadow and lightning and render, and then it's a I really summarized it, but yeah.
Yeah, and then you take a little video where you do the thing where like
then,
it's like racing but the opposite, and the picture appears.
Yeah. And then I get my iPad, and I do like, "Ooh, I'm a TikToker." I have fun.
That's so fun. Yeah, I mean, look, it's really cool. You know, one of the things that I've gotten to experience, and now you've gotten to experience as well, it's very cool that a lot of these people know who I am, and obviously a lot of them know who you are now. Like,
Crazy.
Like, there may be a moment of hesitation when I'm like, if I say to like, someone Julia Stark, and they're like, yes, like it takes them a moment to like put your username to your actual name.
Yeah.
Um, uh, but yeah, I mean, like I've talked to people, a bunch of people about your art. I mean, obviously, like Vic, madly in love with what you have done. I mean,
Crazy.
referred to your like the big eye Vic picture as their favorite picture of
Mm-hmm.
them ever.
Yeah.
How's that? How does
Yeah.
that feel?
This is insane, actually. First of all, thank you, Jordan. It's mostly because of you that a lot of people know me. I mean,
Disagree.
they would know, but I think it's mostly because of you that I know that they know. you know?
Yeah.
But it's crazy because I don't know if you we're gonna ask this later on, but I joined the fandom during Burrow's End. I think you did too. Um, and during it, I was obsessed and like I was a super fan, and then I became a super fan of Dropout, and I I think the thing for me is I am a super fan of their work, of the work they put out. So it feels unreal that like they also know me because of my work. You know what I mean? It's
Yeah.
crazy. Even though I do it for fun and for like to make like to have my creativity flowing, and I don't do it like for work because it's fan art. It's still like work for me, so it's I really appreciate it.
Yeah.
They are so supportive of their fans overall. It's crazy.
Yeah, well, let's look. Normally we do plugs at the end, but what if someone's not watching to the end? We should plug right now because it's not just for fun. You have a Patreon now that people can sign
Yeah.
up for. Yeah, what's the Patreon? I say as a free member because I haven't made the commitment to another Patreon yet, but
Especially of
someday.
something that you really do in your life, like driving.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah, I'm still setting it up fully. But for now I do a bunch of whips. I put some backstage stuff there, and I get a bunch of suggestions for next drawings people choose over there. And I also show the process. I post something that I feel naked when I do it. I post the beginning till the very beginning to the end of the drawing, how I did it. And I'll be posting more and more. And also I put all my previous drawings there so people can download it, use it as wallpapers, and like print at home, do whatever they want because it's an honor, honestly. And yeah, I'll do a schedule for next month with there will be also, oh yeah, there will be also some exclusive stuff that I'll post every month or weekly depending on how it goes. But yeah, it was very exciting. And it's mostly focused on D&D, Dimension 20, Critical Role, Worlds Beyond Number. Hopefully
yeah, when
I'll
are we
get
getting
there.
like one of the questions that it's Jesse from Jesse from the various places that we hang out together on the internet.
Yeah.
Jesse demands that you make an Ursulon.
Okay.
So
Your wish is a command. I will. I wish I had more time because that's the other thing. The Dimension 20 has so many great seasons and I can't keep up. I
yeah,
wish I could like watch it all like one sitting, but it's so much. I'm actually currently watching um uh um oh my god. The space one.
a Starstruck
Um
Odyssey.
yeah, and it's so fun, and I
It's
want to
my
draw
favorite season.
everything.
Yeah,
Yeah. I want to draw everything that happens because everything is so iconic. But I don't have time. But I
yeah.
will eventually draw all the seasons. But for now, I am focusing on Worlds Beyond Number because it's such a great show.
It's simply too good. It's
Yeah.
honestly unfair how good it
I
is.
got so emotional just and I'm at the very beginning and I'm already getting emotional.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Is it patreon.com/stark-jo? It's
Um,
Stark J
I
U.
I definitely know it
I'm
at the top
opening
of
it
my
right now
head.
to double check. Yes, it is
Yeah,
patreon.com/StarkJU.
yeah.
I got it. It's there. Plugged.
Thank you for
Everyone
the
go sign
plug.
up. Um,
If you like D&D and art and
mhm.
the
Yeah,
shows,
if you like the shows, that it would be truly wild if you were watching these interviews and you didn't like the shows that we're
if you
talking
like
about.
this
Yeah,
by chance, if
yeah.
you ever seen Dimension 20, you should sign up.
Yeah, I saw someone recently. No spoilers for A Starstruck Odyssey, but let's just say I know, like Jacob Wysocki was like, I want the highest body count in Dimension 20 history, and Starstruck Odyssey is going to be a hard one to top for some of the characters in there.
Oh, I don't know that yet.
Yeah, it's
Oh,
there's I mean there's spaceships, right? Like they can kill more than one person
thousands.
in yeah.
Oh
Anyway,
God. But
um,
Jacob is committing.
I know it's very fun. Yeah, this season has been so much fun.
Yeah.
Never Stop Blowing Up. Um, it's such a like visual treat. For that. I mean, I think we get to see that really cool, like the animatics that are coming into it. Obviously, they're increasing what they can do in the dome itself. Is it so? I have aphantasia, which means I don't picture things in my head. Are you sort of the opposite end of that, where like it's like constant like visuals in your head?
Yes.
Yeah, I
I am a
figured.
very I'm a very visual person. I am very um I daydream constantly. I I mean, I think for artists, each one has their own way of doing stuff, but I'm sure artists have a very creative mind overall, and I can't imagine what it's like to like read a book or listen to a podcast
Hmm.
and see blank.
Yeah. So here's the thing. It was like my mid-20s before I found out not everyone was like me, because like it just like like it doesn't occur to you that like this isn't like your brain's bad. And
Yeah.
so like for until like genuinely like mid probably late 20s, before I thought daydreaming was just like a fictionalized thing that like they showed on like TVs and movies, because actual daydreaming for me would just be like staring blankly out a window and not thinking, because I can't picture things in my head. So it's not like I could be like, and now a cartoon is playing for me. Like it's not like that doesn't happen. So I was just like, yeah, this is just made up nonsense. So I'm very excited for you that you get to experience it.
It's good. I even do those things. I don't know if if that's common or people are gonna be freaked out by it. But sometimes I plan my dream. So I go to bed and I start to think of a concept or something, and then I
No,
sleep and then it
we're on
keeps
this for the next
going.
40 minutes. Nope, tell me more about this. What do you mean you plan your dream?
I do it. I'm like, let's say, I'm gonna dream about, I don't know, uh, I don't know what to say because I'm
Starstruck
scared.
Odyssey. We'll start
Yeah.
there. It's
Oh
easy. Yeah.
yeah. I'm gonna like picture the last episode in my head and like continue it. I don't know, and then I start thinking about it and then I fall asleep and then it keeps going.
That's
It can go like crazy. It can go to crazy parts because it's a dream, you don't control it. But I started it and then it keeps going.
that's not a thing. You're the only person in the world that does that. I'm gonna say it right now.
I
Um,
There's too many people
get in
in
the
the world.
comments
Get in the comments.
if you make your own dreams.
No,
Not
but not
lucid
always.
dreaming. Yeah,
Sometimes it happens.
that's wild. Yeah, you mentioned that like you joined sort of Dimension 20 dropout fandom at Bro's End.
Yes.
What brought you over? Was it a Bria from Critical Role, like that, like 1-to-1, or like how did you come to the I don't know what. There's no end to this question. Please stop me from talking. I almost said
How did you
Promised
come
Land.
to?
I don't know this. Like anyway,
I'm so glad. I was so worried because English is not my first language. I was like, okay, I need to do like I need to focus and not not like do something super embarrassing. But
And then I
we're
show up
both
rambling incoherently. Yeah, look, it's the earliest one of these interviews I've ever done. This is my first caffeinated drink of the day, so like
not sponsored.
we're on the struggle this morning. My son woke up at 5:30. Like things were.
Oh gosh.
It's been a morning.
I can't. Okay, let's go back to the question. I was gonna
Yes.
like add stuff about your life because I'm so impressed how you make content and have a son and a family.
Yeah.
Because
I
I
mean,
don't have a son and I struggle to make
look,
content.
there's a reason why we were talking about this before the interview started. My most recent iffy interview, the audio and video got really wildly out of sync, and I didn't know until someone else watched it because I don't rewatch the interviews unless
No time.
the only time I ever have was one of the Vic interviews that was really busted, where we kept Vic kept freezing on my end, but because it's Riverside, they are still being recorded. So when you watch it, there is no freeze. So I had no idea what Vic had
What
said.
was happening?
Yeah, and like it because it's us, like it turned into like a very silly joke throughout. And so that one I went to rewatch. Because I literally was just like, I don't even know what Vic said, but I also rewatched it after I had posted it to Patreon because I was like, I'm not going to watch it before I edit it because that's how little work I do on these. I don't watch them before I'm just the only time there's edits is if someone says to me, hey, can you edit this part out? And then I go in and I find it and I make that edit. Otherwise, it is just like the hour untouched. So that's my secret.
The lucid dreaming part?
No, I refuse.
Can you go back?
Yeah.
But yeah, okay. Burroughs End.
How did you come to Dimension 20? That was, I think, the question.
Yeah. So Critical Role. I am a fan. I really love the work, but I haven't been like watching the last campaign because I don't have time.
Yeah,
and
hey, Critical Role, slow down. It's too much.
Oh my god, I would love to, but I can't. And I just to think about catching up, it's crazy.
I'm 122 episodes into campaign 2. That's how far behind I am. I'm a full 100 episodes behind. Like 100 plus episodes behind. Because like just randomly in the middle of campaign 2, there's a 5-hour episode. It's not a finale. They just rolled bad on a survival check, and it was a 5-hour episode. And I was like, wait, what do you mean? What do you mean, Matt? I don't have time for 5 hours. Like,
why sleep? If you can watch Critical Role.
Yeah. I can't watch it. I only listen to it on podcast. There's no way I could ever sit down for like 4 hours.
No, I usually put it like on the screen and work.
Yeah.
So I don't watch it fully. But Dimension 20 I do. I watch it like because it's I feel like it's a Netflix series.
Yeah.
I need to see everyone's reaction and everything. So big fan of Critical Role. I could never catch up, but then I saw that they were gonna do like mini series of Candela Obscura, and I was like, ooh, horror, I'm gonna watch it. And I think it was the second one. I didn't watch the first one, but there was Brennan doing
with
such a oh my god, such a crazy performance. And I remember being like, who is that? what just happened? Who is this guy? This is the best role playing I've seen ever. What's happening? And then I googled him, and then I saw Dimension 20, and I was like, ooh, cool. And I think it was by the second or third episode of Burroughs End, and this is the behind the scenes. I was not drawing at all at this point anymore. I draw since like 2019 digitally, but I wasn't because I was not motivated. I like to do it for when I have something that inspires me, that makes me want to have fun drawing, but it wasn't fun anymore. So I was like, and then I saw the first episode of Burroughs End, and I was like, oh my god, this is the type of stuff that inspires people to make art or make content about, because you can tell how much care and how much production, like how big it is, and how much work Abria put into it. And I was obsessed. This is perfect. And it was so good for me, because I was like, it's gonna come out every week, so I'll always have something to look forward for next week. And this is so cool. So I joined it, and I was like, I need to draw all these stoats with their actors,
Mm-hmm.
who I knew no one. I knew no one. I didn't had all the background, information about anyone. Um, so I loved it. My favorite was by far Easy at the season. Like, she was so perfect, and it was the first fan art I ever did for about Dimension 20 or Dropout. It
That's
was Easy and her little stoat, Lila.
Yes, that's so good. All right, I am looking something up. I don't want to be like rudely on my phone. It's because I don't remember the person's name, and I want to make sure that I give them the proper credit.
Okay.
It's Cosmic. Is it Cosmic Chaos Dice? No, that's not. Yes, it is Cosmic Chaos Dice. What is your actual name, Cosmic Chaos Dice? Anyway, I don't remember her actual name. Anyway, she's the one. I don't know if you saw. She wrote Tula's song, and like it's the song that made Abria cry, and
Ooh.
lots of other people. It's a really beautiful song. She's fantastic. She's on TikTok, makes dice as well. But it's really funny that you mentioned that, because she had stopped writing music until she saw Burrow's End. So like there is something really special about Burrow's End that
There
seems to have
is.
like inspired artists. I mean, this series, the Off the Dome
Mm-hmm.
series, started during Burrow's End. I had been around the fandom for a while at that point. I jumped in like mid 2020 when I was like, we need content. What is there? And like I had been listening to NADPOD, and so the like transition from NADPOD to like following Emily and Murph over to Fantasy High, I was like, oh yeah, I get this. I can get on board with this forever.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, yeah, something about Burrow's End like started this series because I was like, I need all the production details of everything. Like, I need to know every single detail about Polly the Bear.
I think that's the first video I ever saw, like, of your TikTok. It was
Yeah,
you having beef with Abria.
yeah. Well, Bria came out of TikTok retirement. She had not made a video in like
She also
7 months.
got back to TikTok.
Yeah, yeah, it's so funny. That's I don't know if you've seen my interview with her, but yeah, in that like we talked about that moment where she made, because it was New York Comic Con, so she was just like hanging out in her hotel, and I guess had like seen my videos, although wasn't following me at the time, and she was like, what if I just make just throw an unbelievable amount of shade at this person? And like I was out at like it wasn't a farmer's market, but like a street fair with my family, and I don't have notifications turned on for TikTok. That would be madness. I get so many notifications.
That would be me
Yeah,
neither.
yeah,
For any
and
social media.
yes, and so like, but yeah, like my Discord was just like Jordan, 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 and I was like, what is happening? And then like I got on and saw it, and obviously everything changed. Because although I will say I had DM'd Rick Perry already to be like, hey, we should do like do you want to chat about the bear, because that's crazy. And he had said yes, but then when Abria made that video, I was like, I'm gonna DM everyone, because a few people like Casey McGeorge had followed me already. Carlos Luna had followed me already. So like there were people that
Oh,
I had never
Carlos.
spoken to, but I was like, they know who I am. And so as soon as Abria made that video, I was like DMing everyone to be like, let's talk too. Abria said she would.
For sure, after Sam, it was like, oh my god, I can DM everyone now.
Yeah. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, no, that it's every. I just people have asked me like, how do you get these interviews? And I'm like, well, now I tell them I interviewed Sam Reich. Like that's the like
Yeah.
when people don't know who I am.
Yeah. I just came because because you interviewed Sam Reich. That's why
Yeah,
I came to the interview.
yeah. I was like, Julia, I've interviewed people. My usual like in my little intro, if I'm cold emailing someone, is
Yeah.
like, people from mini painters all the way to the CEO of Dropout. I do the try to like name drop as many. I also just very specifically like name drop whoever I like. If I'm like, all right,
Oh, this
like
person.
if I'm emailing the McElroys, I'm like, okay, they've worked with Abria, so like obviously name drop Abria as one of my people I've interviewed. Like I try to like figure out like who will they know that they'll be like, oh, that seems legit.
Good. Yeah,
Yeah.
research.
Yeah.
Good job.
Anyway, this got off the rails very quickly.
This
So
is a good sign.
yeah, it's usually what these are.
Yeah. I can add one thing to the Burroughs End thing.
Yes.
Effect. I feel for me, I love role playing. As I said, like I love to watch people acting as a character and dealing with conflicts and all that stuff. It's the thing that brings me closer to D&D. And Burroughs End is all family dynamics. So I think what the big effect that made everyone feel like connected to it, maybe it's because it's about family and it's about like conflicts and relationships. And I heard that Abria always like tries to do a character focused season. I don't know. Someone told me that. So I'm very excited to watch every single Abria season, and always like I don't know, cry probably.
Yeah. I was in my brain. I was trying to be like, okay, what else have we seen? Sorry, my son is screaming with laughter.
What's happening?
I think he's being tickled. I'm not sure.
Wow.
Yeah.
I also scream like that when I'm tickled.
That's fair. Yeah, it's like Misfits and Magic, obviously very character focused. Burroughs End. Am I missing an Abria season in Dimension 20?
There's the crowd of Fae.
Oh, the Court of Fae and Flowers. Yes.
Yeah.
Very, very. I don't know why that one skipped my mind. People are screaming in the comments right now.
Get in the comments.
How dare I erase KP Hobb, Brennan's all time. Have you seen that season yet?
No.
Oh, then I will not spoil it for you.
I've seen fan art. I think he's he's very hairy.
Yes.
Character.
Yeah, he's a bugbear.
Cool.
Brennan. That's it. Brennan does some things in that that are, I would say, war crimes in terms of like violence against the audience. How good he is. The whole season's fantastic. There's one particular moment that I believe haunts everyone in the world. I'm
gonna have to start it like today. What?
It's a very fun season. Like war crime is like against the audience, not in the season. The season itself, not super violent. Anyway, Abria obviously super talented. I would never say that to her face, of course. But
gosh, what a great relationship you guys have.
Yeah. I obviously like that transition probably very naturally then into VIP, which then I guess the nice thing with Dropout is they are constantly producing new content and stuff, especially like with Dimension 20 that is so visual. I've seen you've done some like game changer stuff. Like, what is it like when you're drawing things that aren't as like you're not drawing like a Dimension 20 a season that is like all like fantasy, like silliness, like this, when you're like, all right, now I have to draw like
a person,
an actual person. I mean, like obviously one of the things obviously that jumps out is the fantastic, you did the fantastic art of like the intrepid heroes around the table, super great. But yeah, what is that sort of process? Is that process different for you? How does that work?
Oh, it is. There's much more pressure because you don't want to do any features wrong. Because I mean the characters, as I said, there's so many amazing artists making fan art every day, every week. And everyone has their own take on the character. I see a bunch of people that makes like concept arts of the character, and then they pick like a fig and they do like 7 figs, different styles
Mm-hmm.
of fig, and that's awesome. And I love this freedom of like, this character, the amazing characters that Kate May did. She is so crazy talented, and then you can add your own like take to it or your own style. But for people, it's harder because you don't want to you want to do it justice, and you don't want to get anything too wrong so it doesn't look like the person. I did a Grandma Sweeney drawing the last month, and I I tried to do Zach's making the
Mm-hmm.
old lady face and like kind of I'm gonna be naughty expression, and every single person in the planet said that it was Grinch, or everyone was like, oh, he's Grinch, and I'm like, oh no, I've done Zach. I've transformed him into a Grinch. But anyway, about the Intrepid Heroes drawing, what I try to do is focus on the personality, and that's how I think I get the vibe. So on that one, I do like Brennan screaming like and then Ellie being like sneaky. And I try to focus on the personality, and the same for other shows in Dropout, because every cast member uh, have big personalities. Like they really complete each other as a group. So I think it's harder, but it's still super fun to do.
Yeah, well, I mean, to be fair, like Grinch, Grandma Sweetie, Zach feels like a correct like amalgamation of like who he is, at least certainly in the Ratfish episodes.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Yeah,
I get nervous because, as you said, sometimes they see it.
mhm.
On my TikTok, I did like a bunch of fan arts I did for the whole season of Fantasy High, and I also don't have notifications on. But then I saw that Zach reposted, and I was like, oh my god, I shouldn't have put this one. I immediately was like, oh no. I should have changed this one and this one. So I get a little self-conscious conscious sometimes about like drawing the actors.
But he reposted because it was great.
I
So
mean,
you were wrong
no.
to question yourself.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah. Yeah. I that one was I really like that Grandma Sweetie one as well. I get the Grinch comparisons, but I also think Zach makes that face. Like there is like you exaggerated it, but like
Yeah,
not
I
by
make
a
it like.
ton.
Mm-hmm.
Like
Yeah, he
but
would
yeah,
make a great Grinch. That's
yeah.
where we're trying to
Get
get
Zac Oyama in the Grinch
in the
suit.
next remake of
Do you
Grinch.
listen to Not Another D&D podcast?
Oh, I really want to. I started the first episode
Mhm.
on a plane flight. But that's how far I've gotten.
If you've made
I
it 10
will.
minutes in, then like you've made it past the barrier. There is a discussion in the first episode about dragon genitalia that sometimes turns people off to ever listening to another episode again.
But that's a great conversation to have. Like,
Yeah, see, if you
we
think
all
so,
should
then
be.
you're on for the rest of the series.
Oh, for sure.
They've started doing a new series that's called Surprise Round, I believe, and they give like the like wild hypotheticals where like would you rather have you could have feet on your hands or hands on your feet, like that kind of like silliness. And for reasons that aren't entirely clear, many of them are Grinch related. So that was why I was wondering, like it will be like you're at a roller coaster and you see a man who is either the Grinch or in an incredibly realistic Grinch costume is messing with the roller coaster, and when you say something to one of the workers, they're like, it's fine. Do you still get on the roller coaster?
Is
like
Grinch the new Shrek?
Apparent in NADPOD, yes.
Okay.
Like they are so deep in on Grinch nonsense.
That's so
I
funny.
think there's a new one of those that's coming out today, in fact. Anyway, this is entirely like You
We're
can't talk about
just.
the Grinch and not mention Nat Pod. It's against the law now.
Mhm.
All right, let's do like a real question. People wanted to know how many iterations do you think you go through on a given piece, like on average? How long before you're like, oh, this is good enough to post? And is there a point where you're like, no, this is never going to get there, and you just scrap the whole thing?
Yeah, I think I don't know if I'm not sure if that's the thing that happens the most, but it happens like frequently. Because sometimes you have ideas that are bad or great ideas that you can't really do. For example, the Wendell piece I posted, I think previously to the Sam one.
Mm-hmm.
I was like, yeah, I'm gonna do him like in the car, and then you can see Vic Ethanol in the background, like yeah, and then Wendell screaming, and the car like going like turning, and then a bunch of smoke, and I had the big visual, and I was like, I can't draw cars. What am I doing? What am I talking about?
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I tried, and I was like, okay, I'm gonna study how to draw cars a little more, and then I'll go back to this. But this happens a lot. But usually, it really depends on the type of piece. I think I always have one big piece on the making for forever, and smaller ones that come out like faster. Kind of.
Mm-hmm.
I couldn't keep this up last month, but usually that's how I do it. I even did like the 6 characters like challenge thing,
Mm-hmm.
because that's my favorite, because I can just like do the face of the character or the bust um in my style. Um and that's the best thing for me. Like I have a lot of fun doing that. But if I'm doing a bigger piece, um I always do. I always test a lot of things, especially the coloring. Like I try to test different colorings and change it up a bit. And last minute details, I always like erase a little bit and like change it. But yeah, but not a lot, not as much as you would imagine. I think because I'm constantly posting. But yeah.
I mean, it's really cool. The 6 character thing you mentioned, I know like you had like obviously you did like Baron and Pac were both phenomenal. I think my favorite may have been Wanda Childa because she's so tiny.
Oh, someone dressed up. This was a crazy thing. I think this happens a lot on fandoms, but it never happened to me. I did Wanda Childa, and she
Mhm.
doesn't have character art. Like she doesn't have any art. And then I just did her as a teenage like emo girl. And also the really tiny one.
Yeah,
And then someone cosplay as her with that outfit to go to the live show.
amazing.
That was so cool.
That's
I
very,
freaked
very
out.
cool. Yeah. I mean, like, look, I mean, you mentioned Kate May earlier. Kate May started like in like fan art, and then like at some point, Dimension 20 came a call and was like, hey, I can tell you the exact story. Kate May posted like on Twitter, like it was one of those things that was like, my dream things that I'm going to do this year. And like one of them was work with Dimension 20. And literally someone from Dimension 20 like DM'd her and because they had seen it and they're like, yeah, you're already on our list. We'll be in touch soon. Um,
Wow.
so
Is it that easy? I'm kidding.
yeah, yes, just keep making great art like you do, and eventually people DM you to be like, hey, I'd like to pay you for this professionally.
No.
I don't know if that's. I may have oversimplified that for a lot of artists, but
No, yeah, I do it for fun mostly. I would love to one day work with them. That's the dream. As I said, there's so many artists who
mhm.
that's the dream. So I don't put a lot of that's. I don't put it as a real goal. I put it as like a dream. But I always get very excited when Carlos like my stuff and like shares it. I'm like, oh my god, it's Carlos.
Oh, Carlos,
Yeah,
so kind, so smart. It's just like he
yeah.
also like I don't know if you've ever seen him like give advice for creative people, which
No.
he'll periodically like he'll jump onto like he hasn't done it in a long time that I've seen at least like, but he did a TikTok live not that long ago. I'm gonna say not that long ago. It was probably 8 months ago. Where like he just basically like was gonna sort cables, and then people like got on and like, what advice can you give for a creative person? And then he can like talk for hours about like
Oh,
how to like do work in creative spaces. It was a thing that I fully intended to talk to him about in the most recent interview I did with him, and we spent an hour and 20 minutes talking about other things because he's just too good to talk to.
awesome. He
Do you
seems like
do?
a sweetheart.
He's so nice,
Mm-hmm.
and so thoughtful as well of like everything that he does. I
Mm-hmm.
think such a really smart fit for D20. Um,
For
do
sure.
you do non-digital stuff, or are you just exclusively digital artist?
I'll never tell. I'm kidding. I don't. I started doing on paper, like
Hmm.
drawing, but now I already don't have that much time to do it digitally.
Yeah.
So I do exclusively digitally. I would love to go back or maybe learn to do like painting, but in the future, not
Yes.
right now.
Yeah. When you're a wildly successful artist and you've got all the time and leisure,
Yeah.
because yeah, um, that's a thing still, right?
Yeah, when I am
Leisure artists.
clearly a billionaire,
Mhm.
as an artist, because that's
Yeah,
so real for every single artist
definitely
out
a real
there.
thing that happens. Yeah,
Definitely, yeah, for everyone.
yeah. Um, uh, is there
Oh,
upcoming?
just one
Yes.
thing. You said like definitely a thing that happens. Just someone reached out to me for a project last week, and no names, but we were talking and stuff, and then he was like, "Oh, someone did reach out to me to offer art." And it was great art, but it was clearly someone like that was like a beginner, and then he was charging like thousands of dollars
Wow.
for rates, and I was like, oh my god, should I do that? Is that a thing? Artists are charging thousands and thousands of dollars every day, because I should do that.
I mean, if you can, you should.
Oh my god.
I feel like it might hurt your commissions, the number of them that you get at least. But if you get
Yeah,
one, then like it might make up for all of them. Because you
I
do
would love
commissions
to.
as well, right? Like that is
I
a
do.
thing that are like there's a limited number of slots available, which makes sense because you're one person.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But if someone is like, I really want my D&D character,
Mm-hmm.
or whatever the case may be. You did a commission. You did art of me, which I was gonna hold up like I have it. It's digital. I don't have it printed somewhere. Anyway, it's fantastic. Thank you so much. But yeah,
Yeah.
folks can when do those open up? How can folks find out about like commission stuff if they want to?
I should share it more, but sometimes I share it on my Instagram, which is at stark.ju. Um, and I share it there. I do it on Coffee. I have limited slots because oh my god, I'm just one person. But I'm very grateful for every single commission I have. It's just sometimes it's a bit that's the thing. Can I talk a little bit about commission work,
Yes.
like especially for D&D? I thought about talking about it because it's really cool. I didn't used to do many commissions before I entered the fandom of Dimension 20. I used to do commissions mostly of like families and like me and my dog, stuff like that. And it's also very fun, but it's so great to get commissions of like D&D characters and or D&D parties, because people put so much thought and care into their character. So they're like, "Oh, I want to see it on your style, in your style." And I'm honored immediately. I'm like, "Oh, that's so cool that someone wants to see their character like that." But also they always send the material, and it's like sometimes pages of like character descriptions and backstory and personality and relationships and everything. Of course, it's a lot of work. That's why I have limited slots, because oh, there's a little scar on the left eyebrow, and there's a golden armor only on the right side, and you know, there's a bunch of details, so that's hard.
Mhm.
But it's so cool to see people describing. They send even the personality, so I can like do a little smug expression or stuff. So that's super fun to do, and it's all because I joined this fandom and people wants to see their D&D characters in my style. And yeah, that's pretty cool. I just wanted to mention that.
Yeah, it's very cool. Yeah, as someone, do you play any role-playing games?
I wish. I mean, where I live, there's not many people who that I know at like that plays D&D. I used to play at a table, but it fell apart because people were not organized. It happens a lot, I guess.
Yes, famously a lot.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I know it's a commitment because it's hard to do it like weekly and stuff, but it's a commitment. That's why it's called a commitment. Um, but yeah, so I never found another table here, like in person. I'm searching for tables online. I've gotten some like invites, and I'm excited to do it once I have more time.
Yeah, the key to everything.
Too, yeah.
Yeah,
It's
yeah.
all because of capitalism. Okay.
Yes. Speaking of capitalism, Start Playing Games is a fantastic resource. They
Oh,
didn't pay me to say this. They do sometimes pay me to say that, but they didn't pay me to say it this time.
ooh,
Um, uh,
cool.
but it is a
I'll
fantastic
check it out.
resource if you want to find, because they have like a ton of different. It's all obviously online, and you pay to play, but like otherwise, how would it work?
Yeah,
But yeah, you can find games and DMs and things like that. It's super fun.
that's cool.
And there's so many games, like genuinely, like the first time I go into the website and like click like the drop down, it's like, what game are you looking for? I was like, I didn't know this many existed. Like it's
Yeah.
like thousands. But yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Yeah, sometimes people like when they are also like ordering commission, they're like, "Oh, and we're playing the la 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 la," and then something I've never heard of, a
yeah.
type of D&D game, and I'm like, "What is this?" And then I search all the background too.
Yeah.
Yeah,
You have to be like, does this impact how I have to draw it? Like,
usually it does. I got a commission for like a Star Wars
mhm.
um party, the D&D they're playing, and I famously know nothing about Star Wars, absolutely nothing. Famously because I am a nerd. I like a bunch of nerd stuff, except for Star Wars and Lord of the Rings that I could never get into. But and then he was like, it was so funny because it's like, oh, he's from the blah, 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 blah from but the dark ones, and he's you can go more to the old version of blah, 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 blah. And then he his armor is in the style of no 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 not this no 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 no. And I'm like, what? It's like another language.
Yeah. Yeah. I could see that being a problem. Star Wars fans are very particular and often very unpleasant.
Wow, hot
Look,
take.
the fandom knows it's toxic as can be. But yeah, like there's, but yes, it's super cool that you get to do all of this stuff. We've plugged the Instagram a bit and the Patreon. Let's remind folks, your Instagram is stark.ju.
Yeah.
Your Patreon is starkju, no period. Is the
No.
TikTok as well?
Oh yeah, I know it
Stark.ju?
by the top of my head
Mm-hmm.
also. Like 1 second. It's yeah, stark.ju.
Great. And that's where the
Yeah.
people can find you.
Yeah,
Commissions periodically available. Check your Ko-Fi for that.
for sure. Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
You can also check me out on I'm always posting on the Mission 20 Reddit, on the Reddit, and
Yeah.
I'm also posting on Tumblr. I'm everywhere. That's the truth. I just joined Facebook. I'm everywhere.
Just in time. Facebook at
Mm-hmm.
its peak of power and popularity. Julia, this has been so much fun. Thank you so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me.
I'm so excited to see this Usha drawing. Usha is so good. I can't wait. And I know Reika's going to lose her mind about it because Reika loses her mind about a lot of things. Anyway, Julia, thank you so much. You probably know this. I don't know how to end an interview, so
And
I'm just going to hit stop recording.
okay.